Welcome to episode 3 of the History Manchester United. Today we will be looking into the legend that is Sir Matt Busby, in the days before anyone could have foreseen the impact the great Scot would have on the club and the years before he took Europe by storm. Alexander Matthew Busby was born on the 26th of May 1909 in the Scottish town of Bellshill, just on the outskirts of Glasgow. His childhood spanned the First World War, a war which took the life of his father, Alexander Busby, but it seems destined that Matt was to be a footballer from the start. Folklore states that upon looking down at her newborn child, his mother Nellie squeezed his thick, stocky thighs and proclaimed, "A footballer has come into our house this day." Busby was a talented young footballer, but there was an enormous sliding door moment that could have changed the course of the history for this club immeasurably. As the sole breadwinner in the household for his mother and 3 sisters, Matt was under enormous pressure to provide for his family. The dream of making it as a professional footballer seemingly not going to happen, his mother all but booked the whole family onto an immigration ship sailing to New York to seek a better life, when Manchester City turned up unannounced to offer the 18-year-old Busby a professional contract. Busby the player was a kind of Carrick-esque calm and assured figure who preferred skill and guile over the hustle and bustle. Adept at long cross-field balls, accurately delivered, it's easy to see why he later looked for those traits in the babes that he developed. It was once said of Busby that, in Matt Busby, City have at best a player who has no superior as an attacking halfback. Busby's run at City lasted a few years before Liverpool picked him up for £8,000 and made him the club captain. Matt played a total of 351 games for Liverpool and Manchester City during the late 20s and 1930s, and actually was touted for a move to Manchester United in 1930, yet no such transfer took place. A few years later, he was forced to stop playing professional football due to the outbreak of the Second World War. With his playing career halted by war-torn Britain, Busby joined the British Army, becoming a sergeant major alongside future Manchester City manager Joe Mercer and future Liverpool manager Don Welsh. In the forces, Busby went on to serve as the Army football manager, a job which would prove to be a vital part of his life and give him the experience to manage football club at the highest level. After turning down the chance to become Liverpool's assistant, Sir Matt was invited to become Manchester United's manager following the end of World War II. Thanks to his good relationship with Louis Rocker, a fellow member of the Manchester Catholic Sportsmen's Club, he accepted. Busby demanded that he control training, tactics and transfers, as he believed he had a greater knowledge of the game than the club's directors. Imagine that, eh? A manager running a football club. It was actually quite revolutionary at the time. Busby's appointment saw steady improvements at the club, helping United reach second place in the 1946-47 season. The following year, United won the FA Cup. As the club's first major honour since 1911, a 4-2 victory over Blackpool in front of over 99,000 fans at Wembley. United then continued to unsuccessfully fight for trophies until the 1951-52 season, where Matt guided the Reds to a league title, United's first in over 40 years. This 1952 side, however, was ageing, and United were in need of a squad overhaul. It was expected that money was about to be thrown at the problem, with expensive transfer targets seemingly the order of the day. However, Sir Matt instead opted to gradually phase out the older players, whilst introducing younger players from the youth squads at United. This move saw the likes of Bill Foulkes, Albert Scanlon and David Pegg promoted to the first team, as well as the great Duncan Edwards, who many believe to have been United's greatest ever talent. With this team, it would take until 1956 before they were mature enough to win the league once again. It was following this title win that Sir Matt was offered the opportunity to manage Real Madrid. Busby, showing his true United colours, responded by telling Madrid that Manchester is my heaven and turning down the job. Sir Matt Busby's story doesn't end there, but it sets us up nicely for what he achieved next. In the next episodes, we're going to look at the Busby Babes, the United Trinity and the Munich air disaster. But before we end this episode, let's hear from the great man himself, Sir Matt Busby's footballing philosophy. Winning matches at all costs is not the test of true achievement. There is no dishonour in defeat as long as you play to the limit of your strength and skill. What matters above all things is the game should be played in the right spirit, with fair play and no favour, with every man playing as a member of his team and the result accepted without bitterness and conceit. Played at its best between two first-class teams, football is a wonderful spectacle. I love its drama, its smooth playing skills, its carelessly laid rhythms, with the added flavour of contrasting styles. Its great occasions are, for me at any rate, unequalled in the world of sport. I feel a sense of romance, wonder and mystery, a sense of beauty and a sense of poetry. On such occasions, the game has the timeless, magical qualities of legend. Join us in episode 4 as we look how Sir Matt Busby built not only one of the greatest teams, but one of the greatest football clubs the world has ever seen.